Welcome back. Today I thought we'd do something kind of fun and maybe go on a little tour of our property. I've got my bug spray on, so I'm all ready to go. I'm actually bringing my pistol as well. We have had mountain lions in the area lately, and one of our neighbor's sheep was killed just a couple nights ago. So we do have 17 acres, and some of it does go up on the mountain quite a bit. So when you get up to the top there, you never know if you might run into wildlife. When we first moved here, we did a tour of the property and did find bear scat all over. And all of our neighbors, after we moved in, let us know, be careful, you have bears on your mountain. And we haven't seen any. I think all of our commotion probably scared them to somewhere new, but just to be safe. I brought my little guard dog. Not actually. So we'll start over here. This is our little shooting area and target practice. So you can see, if you watch my last video, we've done a bunch of weed whacking over here so that it would be much nicer to come throw axes and fetch your axes when you're not crawling through the weeds. And then we have this trail here. We were told this was an old logging road, and we'll follow this and see where it goes. The first detour we will take is just off to the left here. There's a giant rock that all the kids that come over like to climb. This is a big hit with the nephews. As you can see, everything's pretty overgrown. I feel like I probably should have done this before the weeds grew up so tall, maybe in the spring. Now most of our mountain is undeveloped. This is basically the only road that's actually here. The rest of it, we're just gonna have to make our own trail through. Now this is what is left of Caden's bushcraft shelter. He started this last year. You can still see his little bench in there, and he's got his framing, and some of the sticks are still up, but he's abandoned it for a while and the weather's kind of taken its toll. Here's his little shelf he made. And then a little bit farther we have Madeline's little shelter that you come into. She also abandoned hers long ago and all that's left is her little seat and some shelves and just a couple little sticks. And if you've watched many of my videos, you'll recognize here's where my tent is. The hammock, the fire pit, my little prep table, tiki torches. The people that lived here before us were an older couple, and when they had stuff to get rid of, they didn't like to go dispose of it. They kind of just like to make it disappear on their mountain. So we found a lot of interesting things up here, and one of the things that we found is actually the doors and the hood to a 1969 Jeep Gladiator. So when my parents came up, my dad helped me dig all the pieces out and kind of arrange them, and you can still see them. The weeds have kind of grown up, but it's still pretty cool. So we've got the door, the hood, another door back there. And I'm still looking for pieces. There's some random little parts kind of laying around, but as I walk around, I'm always on the lookout for what could possibly be more pieces. Now, as you leave my tent, you can see the road is coming to an end, and that's pretty much all the roads that we have up here. But if you come down this road a little bit and take a right, I'll show you another junk pile we found. So once you get through all this wood, you can see, well, it's kind of hard to see because the weeds have grown up around it, but there's another piece of machinery back here, hidden by the weeds. We pulled a tag off of it that said Body by Fisher, but other than that, we have no idea what it was. But we'll come back down this way and take this other trail that leads us to the top of the property. All right, so this little trail will lead us to the top of our property. Our realtor went ahead and had the people put little flags on trees all the way around, marking our boundaries to make it easy on us. So here's our flag letting us know we made it to the top. The trail is a pretty nice trail, and it continues to go on, just not on our property any longer. So maybe we'll go up this way. As you can see, it is rather rocky. Lots of rocks over here. We have a couple sections that are like entirely rock, and I try to stay away from those this time of year because my daughter and I were exploring and we ran into a couple snakes, and snakes are not my friend, so we'll see that from a distance. We have several of these kind of trees that are dead that have the big holes in them, and I don't know, even though they're dead trees, I just think they look really cool. Now the temperature today is in the lower 90s, which normally I would think was extremely hot, but after the triple digits that we've been in, it's not feeling too bad. So here's where the rocks really start to begin. If we come this way, I'll show you that rock field that I was telling you about, and hopefully we don't see any snakes. So this is the exact part of the rock field that we found the snakes in. Madeline had smushed her finger and lifting up a rock to look for a spider or a lizard or something that had got under there, and we were taking a shortcut back down to my tent, and yeah, that's when we found the snakes. So this area is to be avoided for me during hot weather. So we just came through and there's more rocks, and they're mostly loose, so that's fun to walk on. I just saw a skink. I don't know. Oh. We get blue-tailed skinks around here. Also something I thought was a snake the first time we ran into it, but they're not. They're totally safe and the kids love them. Now most of the trees that you see on our property, probably like 80% of them, are ponderosa pine, like these ones with the really long needles. Now we do have some fir spread throughout here. We had they had it logged like 20 years ago when we had the tree report, and I think it said there's like 80% ponderosa pine, like 8% Douglas fir, and then the rest were just a mix. So we're coming to the spot that my son refers to as Treasure Mountain because he likes to hoard things, and he loves all old things. So you can see this is where they kind of threw all of their cans and bottles. He's actually picked out some really neat glass out of here. I think the rest of it is just tetanus, but we have gotten some really neat like colored old liquor bottles and medicine bottles. Oh, I just crossed another snake rock field. So I feel like I haven't done the best job of walking and talking while I give the tour, but as you can see, most of it, you know, it's a mountain, so it's sloped, so it's a lot of me breathing heavily. So maybe I'll just stop periodically and do a pan around for you guys. Well, that's the first sign of animal life I've seen today besides the skink. We never have found mushrooms on our property, which is disappointing. Now when we come up here in the winter when it's snowy, you can tell exactly what's been up here. We found lots and lots of moose poop and tracks. We found like a turkey superhighway heading to the lower part of our property coming from across the road. We've had bobcat, we've had coyote. In fact, we've even had bobcat tracks that you can see pacing the turkey tracks. So maybe I'll have to come up here in the winter and do a video like that. Here are some berries. I'm not quite sure. They might be Oregon grape. We seem to have lots of that up here. And we also have snowberries, which are poisonous. So I don't know what any of the good berries on our property are, but I know what the poisonous ones are. So that's, I guess, more important. Liberty loves these open spots because it's good for her favorite game, which is fetch. Now we're getting towards the other side of the property. We've got the tree line right there is the top. So we're back up here by the top, but this is just one of my favorite spots to come and sit down and have a look out. I don't know. I just think it's beautiful. So I'm gonna try this for like the 83rd time. There is the coolest spot over here in the trees, and it never comes across on camera looking as cool as it is in person. So there's just lots of these trees together, which isn't unusual, but when you walk in, it makes a canopy over you, and it's almost like a little hideout in here. And it's nice and shady, like it's its own little world. And it's pretty big. You can see, like it looks like that's a big opening, but when you're under here, it just feels like you're in a tree cave. And I don't know, if I was my kids, this is where I'd be coming to hang out, because it's just really cool. You got an old stump you can put your stuff in that's hollow. And then you can see there's a pink flag waving over there. That's our property line. So it just feels secret in here. And so far, Liberty and I are the only ones who have gotten to enjoy it. The first time I found it, I couldn't find it again to show my kids. And then since I found it, they haven't actually wanted to come trudge through the weeds to see it. And then we're out. And we're back into the relative openness. That's what it looks like coming out of it from this angle. So you can see that it would be hard to tell that that's what you were walking into. But I've got it pinpointed now. And then the rest of the way down is pretty brushy. Now we would like to make a trail that goes all the way around our property, but you can see with all the trees and weeds and rocks, that is going to be a big undertaking. Although when you come down from this side, when the weeds aren't here, this is actually almost kind of a road. So I'm thinking it might not be too hard. This part might be like the part up by my tent where we could just mow it out real good and have a nice little trail here. I thought about building like a little teepee or something on this side so that we could have kind of like a fun little fort area off on both sides of the mountain. We've got some yarrow here, it looks like, next to a bone. I found a really cool skeleton that I'm going to show you guys not too far from here. Now, it was missing both of its front legs, so it looks like a terrifying two-legged creature. But before the weeds grew up tall, I actually found one of the legs clear at the top of the mountain. So whatever was eating on it drug the leg all the way to the top. Yeah, I'm fairly confident, as intimidating as this looks, that with a good weed whacking blade, you could blaze a trail through here pretty easily. And then there's like a little dune trail off to the side over here that's been going the whole way through. And here's that skeleton I was telling you about. The weeds are growing up through it, so it's not as visible. You can see the back legs and the front legs are missing. And surprise, it's the next day. Well, of course, my battery died right as I was coming down off the mountain. Luckily, right where I ended was actually right as I was coming back down onto the flat part of our property. So hopefully you enjoyed that tour, got to know our place a little bit better, and maybe you think it's as cool as I do. I don't know. Either way, but thanks for watching.